Hey, this is Russell Brunson. I want to officially welcome you to episode number 1 of the Russell Brunson Show. And you may be thinking, Russell, this is not your first podcast episode. Why are you calling it episode number 1? And the reason is because I'm changing the name of the show to the Russell Brunson Show. I'll talk about why here in a few minutes. And we got a bunch of really cool announcements. And then at the end of this podcast, I'm going to be going through 6 things you got to focus on 2025 to grow and scale your company dramatically. And I'm excited. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into the first ever episode of the Russell Brunson Show. Okay, so I'm going to step back. I'm going to tell you guys the history of this podcast for those who are just jumping in for the very first time. So when I first heard about podcasting, it was almost 20 years ago. In fact, I remember sitting in a hotel room and at a seminar, and they were talking about podcasting, and I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No one's ever going to podcast. It's not a real thing. No one's going to care. The word podcast is just so annoying that it's not going to become a thing. Little did I know that it become such a big thing. But I remember I fought it for a long time. But I do remember thinking, like, if I ever started a podcast, I was going to call it Marketing Your Car. And so I bought the domain name Marketing Your Car. And almost a decade later, I decided to launch my very first podcast ever when it started kind of catching on. And so I launched a podcast called Marketing Your Car. And some of you guys may remember this if you listen to the old episodes. It was on the back of my business kind of collapsing. Everything, at the time I built my company up to about 100 employees and everything had fallen apart. It was collapsing. Everything was collapsing. I had to let go like 90 some odd people in the day. And I was moving down to this really small business to a smaller office. And I remember just being, depressed and sad. And all my dreams had fallen apart. I thought I was failing. And I had this weird pull, this weird tug. Some of you guys have felt that before. I call it now the call to contribution, where you feel it's like contribution. Okay. I got that term from Alex Sharfin, but it's called the contribution, where I felt like I should start podcasting. I'm like, this is the worst time to start podcasting. My company's failing, everything's falling apart. But it was like, you need to start documenting this journey. And so at that time, where I'd moved from this big, huge, 20,000 square foot office down to a 2,000 square foot office. I got from 100 employees down to 4 or 5 that I could still afford. And I had a 4-minute drive from my house to the office every day. And so most days I would grab my phone and I would just record a podcast episode. It was called Marketing Your Car. And it was literally me just talking about what I was learning, what we were trying, what we were testing. And it was kind of how I launched it. And I remember putting it out there and I didn't know how to see if people were listening or not. So I put it out there, kind of promoted it, and then I just hoped for the best. And I didn't know for a couple of years before we were figured out how to actually hook up analytics to see how many people were downloading it. And I remember at the time when we finally hooked it all up, I was like, wow, I'm grateful that I didn't know how few people are listening at the time, because I wouldn't have probably had put so much effort into it. I was doing it probably 3 times a week for, for 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't even know how long it is. In fact, just fun for me to go back and listen to those episodes. In those episodes, I remember one episode I was talking about, you have to be a moron to want to make more than $10 million a year. Why would you ever want that? It's so dumb to even go after that. Which is kind of funny now. I remember talking about this idea, talking about this thing called ClickFunnels as we were developing and designing it. And it went from literally our company failing to this journey of us launching ClickFunnels and it going out into the world. And so the Marketing in Your Car podcast kind of was this really cool journey of me coming from a business failure up into launching ClickFunnels. And it was just such a cool thing. And I remember, probably year 2 into ClickFunnels, I hired this guy named Steve Larson. Some of you guys know Steve. And he came into the office and he was my funnel builder, my first funnel builder I hired. He was sitting right next to me and all day long we'd be talking and stuff. And he went through, he's like, I binge will listen to every episode you ever did from the very beginning. And he told me something one time. He's like, man, the first 35, 40 episodes, you were not very good. He's like, by 40, 45, you started getting your groove and you started actually being good. And I thought that was so cool. Again, so grateful I didn't know that nobody was listening initially, because I would have probably quit before I ever got that way. But it's also interesting. It took me 40 or 50 episodes to find my voice and start figuring out how I was going to speak to people and communicate. And I use that as a lesson. I talk about this actually in the Traffic Secrets book, where I talk about the fact that you have to publish long enough to get noticed, right? And 2 things will happen. Number 1 is that in that process, you will learn how to find your voice. And then number 2, your audience will have a chance to find you. I'm just so grateful that I did it consistently long enough for my audience to start finding me. And I started looking at over time. It was crazy because after we launched ClickFunnels, I launched my inner circle. And what's crazy is the majority of the people who came into my inner circle came from initially they were podcast listeners. They listened to all my podcasts. I feel like I was listening to when I was working out and driving, and it became part of their lives. And so that was kind of how Marketing in Your Car launched, the very first version of this podcast. Then fast forward after that, I remember I was buying a whole bunch of domain names from John Reese. I bought Traffic Secrets, Product Secrets, and all these different things. And one of the things I bought from him was Marketing Secrets, which is his blog back. Like when I first got started, that was the blog back in the day that he had. I used to read and study from him. He was one of the original OGs of this market. And I bought Marketing Secrets, and I decided to change the branding of the show to Marketing Secrets. And it became the Marketing Secrets Show. And it ran that way for another, I don't even know now, 5, 6, 7 years. I think I've done like 600 episodes as the Marketing Secrets podcast. And I've always loved that. And it's been awesome. In fact, this is the first episode that isn't Marketing Secrets, which is hard for me. But what's tough is like, I don't know, I'm in a spot in my career and my life where I want to talk about a lot of stuff. And the Marketing Secrets kind of pigeonholes me in this weird spot where I'm allowed to talk about marketing. And I kind of go outside those bounds, but a lot of people are like, I've come to you, Russell, to learn about marketing. I'm like, I know, it's awesome. And so like for a little while, I was like, well, I love marketing, but I also love sales. What if I changed the branding to the Selling Online podcast? And I almost did that. We even created an intro video. It was awesome. But then I was like, I love talking about personal development. And so like we almost changed the podcast to Round Pegs, Square Holes. And that was going to be a thing. Or I was going to create a whole separate podcast of one on marketing, one on personal development. And it was just getting confusing. And I was like, you know what? This is the deal. People come to me for different reasons. Some of you guys came to me because you want to learn marketing. Some of you guys came because you want to learn sales. Some of you guys want personal development. Some of you guys just like, you have no idea why you're listening to me. You're just here because I'm trying to entertain you. We're having a good time. Some of you guys like me telling stories about old people who have passed on, who changed the world, that, like Napoleon Hills and Orson Swett Martins and like all these people that like, and so I have a lot of things I want to talk about. And so I kept trying to shift these things around. Finally, I was like, you know what? Most of the people I know, the show's named after them. It's like the Rachel Hollis Show, the Gary Vee Show, like things like that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to change this to the Russell Brunson Show, and I can talk about things I want to, all the things. And I think it'll be more fun for you guys. We're also on YouTube setting up a separate podcast channel where it's just my podcast stuff. So I have the Russell Brunson channel, which it's got all sorts of stuff, but we're going to create a Russell Brunson podcast that's just these interviews, just me going live, like just these things that are very specific to the podcast format that I'm going to kind of use. So by the way, that means you got to go back to YouTube and resubscribe if you want the video versions of these. But that's why we're doing it, okay? But I also want to know that like when you're coming to an episode and listening, I want you to be able to know like what you're getting into, right? I know there's some podcasts I listen to where like I like when they talk about personal development, maybe not this part or vice versa. So in the titles, I have like it'll be like episode 1. Here's the title, and then have some kind of thing afterwards that'll talk about if this is the marketing episode, a selling episode, a success episode, or like a round peg, square hole, or I'm talking about some other person from history that I think you should know about. And so that's kind of how I'll break these things up. There may be other categories that come in the future, but for the most part, the things I deal with, the things I think I'm the greatest in the world. I'm great at marketing. I'm great at selling. I'm obsessed with personal development, and I love stories of just amazing people who have passed on, who most of you guys don't know about. So those things I'm passionate about, and that's the stuff I'm going to be talking about more so during this podcast. So hopefully you'll find something that you love, and it should be a lot of fun. So there's kind of set up about what the new Russell Brunson Show is. So now you know. And I want to talk about, before I dive in, I've got 6 things I want you to understand that I'm focusing on dramatically in our business this year. I think are going to be the keys for us growing. And so I'm going to talk about this here in a minute. But before we do, I want to talk about the last 12 months. Okay. We're at the beginning of the new year right now of 2020. What year are we? 2025. I'm not bad at remembering year. I'm not good at remembering years. So we're at the beginning of a new year. And I know with that, there's a lot of new growth and things like that. And I've been thinking a lot over the last couple of weeks about this kind of stuff. And also just about the last 12 months. And it's crazy. Before we got here, I listened to an episode that I did last December. So a little over a year ago. And I was at a low spot in my business and my life. And I was listening, I'm like, man, that Russell is in a lot of pain listening to that. And I was very excited, like this year's gonna be great. And we're going to, do a lot of stuff and dig out of this hole and get back to spot, where I feel like we're growing and having success. And what's crazy is a year later, it's been a brutal year this year. I don't know about you guys, but, man, for me, it's like the last cycle. I would say I'm not into politics, but the last political cycle has been rough for me, as a whole. And for me, for my business, for my family, just a lot of things, a lot of changes, a lot of stuff I was not prepared for. And what's crazy is I have a group, I have my inner circle group, and I have a group above that called the Atlas group. And we met in December with the whole Atlas group. And it was crazy. Almost every single one of the people in that group were like, this year was really, really hard. Everyone had it was a very consistent feeling of it being a really, really hard year. And also, I don't know anything about numerology at all, but one of the guys in my inner circle, named Vishal, he was talking about numerology. He's like, based on the numbers, this year is supposed to be the hardest year for everybody, but 2025, based on numerology, is supposed to be amazing. So I'm like, I don't know about anything about numerology, but I'm pumped because I feel something different this year. I don't know if you guys are feeling it as well, but like I'm really excited and really, really motivated. The last 12 months have been tough, and I want to kind of talk about that just because I think it's been tough for a lot of you guys, and I want to have empathy to that because I'm going to talk about how to succeed this year, what to do, what to focus on, all that kind of stuff. But I also want to do it through the lens of like, I understand where you're coming from. If you got beat up this year, man, so did I. If you got beat up the last couple of years, like so did I. And so if you, and I'll fast forward actually 4 years ago first. So 4 years ago, during the last election cycle, in fact, I remember it was the day of the election. I flew out to Atlanta to hang out with Todd. And that's when we got the offer for somebody to buy ClickFunnels. We'd gone through this process for 5 or 6 months ahead of time, and it came down and it's just a big funnel. Everything in the world's a funnel, right? But, we put it out there. We had people coming initially, really high offers. And then you go through all the due diligence, and it goes from like 100 companies to 80 to 50 to 40 to 10 to, all the way down to like 3 or 4 companies. And we ended up getting 3 or 4 offers at the very end. And it was the day of the elections that just happened. So it was the next day. And we were sitting there looking at the offers. And I don't know, it was weird. The offer was insane. Had I have said yes to that, I never would have had to work again. I don't know, it was crazy. But there was something weird inside where I was just like, I didn't feel good about it. I was just like, I don't feel like I'm done. I don't know, it was a weird thing. And it's crazy because like the selfish thing would have been like, peace, I'm out. I've got a 9-figure check for myself. Todd's got one, and it would have been easy. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe we're dumb. We decided to say no to it. And it started this journey, and we were so excited. Like, we're going to build, we got to build something, because like we knew what we built ClickFunnels was amazing, but we knew we needed to build something for the next, to take it to the future, to do what we needed to do. We needed to do something different. And so we sat down and we went back through the drawing board and kind of designed it all out. And Todd spent a year by himself with a team of guys, building out the foundation for what would become the new ClickFunnels. We spent a year of it, and it was like turning out so good. And the next year is Funnel Hacking Live. And this is probably my mistake, but like I was so excited, and I wanted people to know, because people were asking like there's other competitors coming out, like, what are you guys doing? And we were obviously fixing and trying to make the core product really, solid and stable, all kind of stuff, but we were building something new. And so finally that next Funnel Hacking Live, so it was a year into development, I came out and I was like, okay, this is what, like, I told them like 2.0, this is what we're building, this is what it's going to look like. And people were so excited. And then, and so, and I don't know, it's one of those things where you always feel like you're closer to done than you are, And so that year we announced it, and it's just crazy because half our audience was so excited, and then half the audience was like, I don't know, it's just funny. Like the people who don't like me or like ClickFunnels were just like from day one, oh, it's going to be horrible. And it was so crazy. I'm like, we just told you we're working on something and you're already talking trash about it. Like, it just blows my mind how people work. But then it was out there, so people knew about it. And so we spent the next year working on it and building it. And so next year's Funnel Hacking Live was coming up, and it was tough because people were waiting a year for it, and we were waiting, and we'd been testing it for an entire year, and it was very solid. Like, it was working great. There were like bugs and hiccups and stuff, but it was like, anyway, it is what it is, right? And so the next year Funnel Hacking Live, we didn't launch it there. We did a beta launch, everyone who was at Funnel Hacking Live. And then like 2 months later, a month later, whatever, we did the ClickFunnels 2.0 launch, and we gave it to everybody. And what's crazy, this is like in hindsight, when we launched ClickFunnels first time, there weren't very many customers. People would come in, they find bugs, we fix them, and then more people come in, we find more bugs, and just like kind of cleaning things up. But we went from 0 to getting 18,000 new signups in a week. 18,000 people joined. And what's crazy, in hindsight, if I could go back in time and say, young Russell, don't be an idiot. We had 18,000 people sign up, and there were all sorts of things. And we spent the next year just trying to keep on top of it. And it's hard because like when we launched it, I told everyone, I'm like, this is the beta of 2.0. It's amazing. When you sign up for a year, we'll give you classic and 2.0. You get both. So I was like, in my head is like, best of both worlds. There's gonna be some bugs and stuff, but people can have classics. Doesn't matter. Like both best of both worlds. The problem is a lot of people didn't look at that way, and we had people that were upset with us. And for the next year, we spent just fixing things and trying to keep in front of it and like improving it and getting the platform solid and like trying to. Anyway, it was a lot. And so that was like last December. It was like it'd been a year of that. So again, 4 years. We had a year of building, a year of pre-launch, and then we launched it, and then a year. And so last December, I was like beat up, and I listened to that podcast episode, and I was just like, I could tell I was beat up, right? And I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm trying to serve people. Like, I literally did not quit. I did not take this huge payout. And instead we sacrificed all the stuff to create this amazing thing for people. And a lot of the people who we'd created it for were angry at me and mad and like talking trash about me and like attacking. And it was just like, I don't understand this. Like, what we thought we were doing the right thing was to not just take the easy money and just walk away. It was like, no, let's go back and anyway, it's just weird to me. And it was like, anyway, it was tough. It was tough. And I remember at the end of it, I was talking about how a couple of things, like just how brutal it had been, like people attacking me and attacking the company and stuff, and how hard that hurt me. It also had been a year since my partner Dave Woodward had passed away, which was hard. And it's just like, man, I don't understand. Like when, I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like when you're the underdog coming up, everybody cheers for you. And when you're on top, it's weird how people just want to take shots at you, especially people who you helped, who you served, you helped them start their businesses and launch it. And then they come attacking you. It's just like, I don't understand. I'm trying to do everything right. I'm trying to do what I think is best for us and for the community. Like I wasn't selfish and just cashed out in like peace and like left things where they were at. And so it was hard, man. It was brutal. I think it was something I was not expecting. And then come into the new year. So a couple other things. So I don't know if I talked about this in that podcast episode, but last December also my twins turned 18. And I don't know about you guys, but you always think you have more time with your kids and everything. And oh my, I love my kids. They're amazing. Like, but being a parent's hard. I don't know if any of you guys are parents out there, but it is hard. It's like crazy. Like you go to Fun Hockey Live and I speak, and everything I say, people are like latching on. I'm like, that's so smart. You're the greatest. With your kids, it's not that way. Like it's like you try to give your kids everything, and it's a whole different experience. It is hard, and you try to give your kids the best, and like parenting is weird because parenting, there's like, I don't know how you guys feel. As a parent, though, I always have this thing where it's just like, and this isn't completely true, but in my head, it's like, I'm like, there's no value as a parent, right? And that's not true. There's value, but it's like you don't get anything out of it. You don't get paid for it. You don't get, they don't tell you they love you when they get older. Like all these things are just like, and like everything you're doing is trying to help them. And then they're angry, they're mad, they want to rebel. It's just like, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing this because I love you. That's the only purpose, right? And it's just so hard. And so last December, my twins turned 18, and it was tough because like one of my sons, we turned 18, had a birthday party for him. He went out that night and then he didn't come back home, and he basically moved out. And that was not something we were prepared for or ready for. We didn't even know what was happening. It was, and the transition for months was like, it was brutal on me and on Colette, not knowing what was happening and why he wasn't coming home and where he was even staying. And I don't know, it was mentally really tough. So being a parent's hard. So anyway, those of you guys who don't have teenagers yet, you're going to find out it's a different game, but that was really, I don't know. Yeah, that was really hard. And then come January, and I haven't talked publicly about this, but it's actually like a year ago this weekend. So we had I don't want to get too deep into the details of it, but we had a scare with our one son that moved out. We had a scare. It was a Friday night, and anyway, we were out till 2 or 3 in the morning trying to find him, and all sorts of. Anyway, that's as far as I'll go. I came home, went to bed, and then the next morning woke up at 6 a.m. for wrestling tournament. Took my son to it, and for me, wrestling's my happy place. You guys know that. Like, I don't know, nothing brings me more happiness than wrestling. And anyway, I go to this wrestling tournament and watching Bo. It's his senior year. We've been working so hard, like literally every day of the summer. We worked out. Me, him, and his wrestling partner just trying to perfect things and get better. He was like just doing so good and so excited. And we're at this wrestling tournament, and for some reason, normally the coaches sit back off the mat. For some reason, like the gym was small. Everyone's on top of each other. Or like it's like I'm sitting right on the mat, and my son's wrestling, and I did something stupid. The kid wrestling put a hold on my son that he should not have. The ref was very slow to react to it. And I don't know, just call it lack of sleep, call it stress, call it anxiety, call it being stupid, a million different things. And I jumped out and tried to get the kid off my son. And anyway, I got kicked out of the tournament, rightfully so. I should have. I was in the wrong there. I should not have done it. And I thought that was it. I don't know. Normally that would have been what's it. This kind of stuff happens in wrestling often. It's not something that I don't know. And someone caught it on video, and because I am who I am, they posted it and tagged me and tagged everybody, and that video went viral. And I don't know if any of you guys ever had a chance to to stand in front of millions of people and have them all take shots at you without you having to really say anything back. Man, it is brutal. It's crazy because like we went to the family, apologized, made it right, like everything was fine, and then like the I don't know, the jury of public opinion, I don't know what's called, judge, jury, executioner of the world. For the next, I don't know, 6 weeks, I would say conservatively, I probably got, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 death threats. I got people, anyway, it was like nothing I ever experienced before. And again, it's one of those things that like, they happened in the normal world, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, but because it made it on the news and it made it everywhere. I got on the Joe Rogan show. Yeah, I made it on Rogan. I don't know, but because of it, it was just, they wouldn't let, they forced me to quit as a coach. They wouldn't let me go and watch my son wrestle ever again. Wouldn't let me go to practices. Wouldn't let me even watch a wrestling match for 2 years. I can't coach ever. I literally taken the thing that was most important to me away. That was hard, man. I don't know. And again, it sucks because like, I mean, it was a mistake. I messed up 100%. Man, I would say conservatively probably cost me a couple $1 million. Cost me a lot of, anyway, it was tough. It was tough to see how like people who I thought were friends, jump up and throw you under the bus. People who are your enemies feel like it's Christmas and they get to do whatever they want. People using just for clickbait, just take as many shots as possible. Like it was hard for me, for my family, for anyway, it was, man. So that was my January. So I don't even know. But yeah, it was brutal. And then from there, it was, the rest of the years kept happening, kept having things. And it's just, we had, problems with ClickFunnels, problems with employees, problems. It was just like, man, it's like everything that could possibly go wrong that year kept happening. It's getting hit over and over and over again. Towards the end of the year, we decided to take, look at our company. Our company's got a lot of stuff, right? We got ClickFunnels, we got the training, we got everything, coaching programs. So it was one company. We decided to separate them as two different companies. And so we spent a lot of time doing that, which officially got done December 31st. January 1st, we're running as two companies. It was Prime Mover, which is the info coaching side of the business, and ClickFunnels, which is the software side of the business. But there's a lot of things along the way. Anyway, it was a tough year, and I'm sure a lot of you guys had similar things. In fact, it was like month after month. It's like, I don't know how, like, just thing would happen. The next thing would happen. The next thing. It was just like, anyway, it just a lot. And it's funny because, like, I mean, you guys, if you follow me at all, our mantra inside of ClickFunnels, you're one funnel away, you're one funnel away. And we launched a ton of funnels. Like, I need funnels to increase coaching sales, to increase ClickFunnels trials, to increase revenue so we don't have to let people go. And there were a couple times we had to do layoffs this year, like things like that. We're just trying and trying and trying. And it's crazy as we got closer and closer to the end of the year. And again, one funnel away, man. I said that for a long time. It's been our mantra. And if you look at how many different funnels we rolled out over the last year, but then towards the end of the year, we launched, after we were splitting the company, info side, I was like, hey, how do we sustain info product side, the coaching side? We needed something. And so we sat down and said, okay, we need to build something. We sat down and we built a funnel. And you've probably seen the funnel. It's at sellingonline.com, and it's a 3-day event. And we launched that. And that event and that offer, back-end coaching, everything just shifted everything for us. Like it gave me the ability to, like, oh, okay, it's working again. Thank heavens. All right, we have an offer. We have something we can scale. We have something we can grow. It was like the brink of everything falling apart, and then like one funnel away. Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one? And it's like, boom, we got one. This is the one. It's the highest converting funnel we've had. 6, 7 years. And so that was the selling online funnel. And then it was like, okay, now the info product side is happening, but like the ClickFunnels side, we're still losing members and things are shrinking. And like, how do we save this? And it was like, try another funnel. We did this funnel, same thing, like boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden during Thanksgiving, boom, we hit one called The Last Secret. You probably see it, thelastsecret.com. We hit it. It was like, boom, like that was the funnel that we can grow, we can scale. And so by the end of the year, it's like, oh my gosh, the two sides of the businesses, we got two funnels that are scalable, growing funnels that we can spend $1 million a month on to grow the companies, both companies individually. And it was just like, well, anyway, I think a lot of that comes back to like, I don't know, a year of it being brutal. It's like a lot of praying and a lot of just up at bats. Try this one, try this one, try this one. I think a lot of times, when things get hard, we just like clam up and just like, I'm just gonna quit. And it's like, we didn't have that opportunity. I couldn't just quit. Like I've got, hundreds of employees. It's like, I gotta try and keep trying, keep showing up, keep stepping up to plate and like striking out. And then how good it feels when you hit something and your team rallies behind it. It's just like, oh my gosh, we have something that's going to serve our customers at such a level deeper than we ever thought possible. And then also something that like our team is fired up about, like everyone, like the employees, the staff, the team, like, and I remember after selling a line event, like we got done and Miles, who runs our event, came out. He was like freaking out. I was like, this is so exciting. Like first time I had to introduce the concept of prime mover and like this thing. And he was just like, yeah, I'm a prime mover forever. He was so excited. And everyone else was rallying behind us. Like, it feels like we're back, right? And The Last Secret too, same thing, ClickFunnels, we're trying different versions, different things like how do we get trials back to where they used to be? How do we get all that kind of stuff? And then boom, that one hit. And it was just like, oh, thank heavens. So, I don't know. There's something about that. You guys are just keeping showing up and trying. Despite all the challenges and all the pain. So that was the end of last year. Is like, finally we had two funnels that were just like, now we can, the two sides of our company, we can grow them and we can scale them. And we've got the ammunition we need, which is really exciting. And that brings me to today. So, actually tomorrow. So tomorrow, I told you guys I have twin boys. One of my sons, the one left a year ago on his birthday and has been living away, and he's doing great now. He's got a job. Anyway. So, a year later, it's like, after you get past the initial 3 or 4 months of just like, I was not prepared for this. How does this work? How do you navigate the emotional and the physical and the, like all the things, right? He's doing great now and thriving. And it's been interesting and fun watching him take that step into the real world. And now my other son is going on a mission. In fact, tomorrow we're driving him to Utah to the Missionary Training Center. We're going to drop him off and he'll be gone for 2 years. And so my family life is like changing. It's so weird, but also it's like, we're more prepared now and it's better. So anyway, that's the year for me coming up to now. So like I said, the last 4 years, as you've seen, have been brutal. At the same time, right now we are on the precipice of like so many great things. Like ClickFunnels, we're not calling it ClickFunnels 2.0 now, but new ClickFunnels. We have like 2 or 3 really cool things happening this month before Funnel Hacking Live. You guys will see. I want to tell you so bad, but I can't. You'll see it soon. But just new things that are coming out that are like so exciting. And like the platform is insane now. It's stable. It's great. The editor is second to none. Anyway, I'm so proud of what ClickFunnels has become. It took us longer to get there than we wanted, and I apologize for that. But man, where it is now is insane. We have people in swarms coming back and like, they're like so fed up with all the crappy other solutions. And like, we missed the funnel builder. We missed this. And like, ClickFunnels is today the greatest funnel builder on the planet, hands down. There's nothing that comes close to it. The page load speeds faster, the features, the simplicity, it is insane. There's nothing better than that. Like it is. Anyway, so that is true, and I'm proud of it. And with that foundation, like growing again is so exciting. So, okay. So with that said, sorry, there's a long lead up to the things I actually wanted to talk about and teach you on today's podcast, but I wanted to give you some background, why I'm calling the Russell Brunson Show, why we're doing things like the last year. And now it's like, hey, we're at the beginning of the year. What are the things we're going to do to take over the world, right? I want to take over my world. I want you guys to take over your world and your businesses. And so I've got 6 things to be focusing on that are the keys. A lot of this come back to the fundamental, foundational things that, from the ClickFunnels world, from Russell Brunson, from the .com seekers, expert seekers, traffic seekers books, but it's refocusing. And it's funny because for me, it's like, this is what I'm refocusing on. And so usually when I'm trying to refocus, it's like most of the people who follow me are like, I'm also refocusing on the same things. And so I hope this helps serve you guys as stuff to focus on first. Okay. thing number one, you got your notes out, write them down. Thing number one is focusing on creating a break-even funnel for your business. Okay, what is a break-even funnel? A break-even funnel is a funnel that I can spend $1 million a month in ads and I get $1 million back during the point of sale, during the sign-up process, right? It is the key. It's the thing that gives you the ability to sustain and grow your company, okay? For me, selling online was the first one. Again, my whole goal is I need to get a funnel that we can spend a ton of money on to get leads in again. So we're trying thing after thing after thing, like this funnel, this funnel, this funnel, this funnel. And finally, for us, it was sellingonline.com. That funnel became the break-even funnel, okay? It's a 3-day event. It's $100 to get a ticket. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend going and funnel hacking it. One of the highest converting funnels of all time. And it's working. And you should also go through the event anyway, because it's a 3-day event. I'll teach you how to actually sell more. So sellingonline.com, right? But it's a break-even funnel, okay? Right now, my goal, in fact, my entire goal, we have one of our guys in our inner circle, in my Atlas program, he spends $150,000 a day in ads. So I built this funnel with that goal. I need a funnel I can spend $150,000 a day in ads. We're not there yet. We're at the spot where we're spending probably $50,000 to $60,000 a day in ads and trying to get that to the spot where we can consistently get to $100,000 a day in ads and beyond. But if you can spend $100,000 a day profitably in ads, what does that do for the rest of your business? Like, it explodes it. Think how many new leads, how much new blood is coming into your business every single day. Think about how much have people buy your back-end coaching program. And now you have these new leads, you can buy everything else in your ecosystem. Like, the key number one is break-even funnel. So for the info product side of the business, which we call Prime Mover, that was the key. Selling online became the funnel. Now we can spend the money a day. Now the second thing was like, I need a break-even funnel in the ClickFunnels business. We've had them for years, but over the last probably 1.5 to 2 years, we've not had a break-even funnel. Okay. Initially it was just, it was a Funnel Hacks webinar. We ran that, you guys know the story. I did the webinar, like 70, 80 times live. Then we transitioned to Evergreen and we ran that for years, right? That was the funnel. I know that funnel was not the offer, the webinar, whatever, was not profitable anymore. So we had to turn that one off. Then the One Funnel Away Challenge was the next thing. We ran that for years. And that was the profitable front-end funnel that we spent tons of money. We had 180-something thousand people buy the One Funnel Away funnel, right? That was the next one that lasted for a long time. After that, we launched 2.0. We had the Your First Funnel Challenge. That one ran profitably for like 2 years, maybe a year and a half before it stopped working. And I was like, we need a funnel. So again, we were trying different thing after thing after thing. And then finally, thelastSecret.com launched, boom. And if you guys follow the linchpin model, it is modeling the linchpin business model to a T. And so if you want to go see it, thelastSecret.com, you can go check it out. But they register for a live event. Then there's the thank you page, Mifke, giving people a ClickFunnels trial. And then we do the event where we're basically white label a whole bunch of like $40 million software company for free when they have a ClickFunnels account. Like, it's insane. And so that right now, we did a launch during Black Friday, and it crushed. It was insane. Probably the highest converting offer I've ever done. And now we just this week are rolling it out as a live evergreen. So, boom, number one, break even funnel. Okay. If I was to go to create a new business, in fact, a good example of Secrets of Success is the side business I have, right? My number one focus post FHL is to get a break-even funnel in that business. And so I'm going to try 2 or 3 till I get one. It's like, boom, this is the one that I can scale. Same thing with magnetic marketing, Dan Kenny's business. Like, my number one focus post FHL is getting a break-even funnel. So for you guys, like, number one thing for this year is you have to have a funnel where you can spend money profitably to get customers. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Okay. Now, if you're waiting to build this funnel, like, you need to go test a bunch of things. Like, now is the time to go build a break-even funnel. It is the key that will unlock all the freedom, all the success, all the growth, all the things you need. Okay. My ability to grow and scale ClickFunnels right now is second to none. Better than it's ever been in the past, right? Like, if I'm going to beat everyone else, it has nothing to do with anything other than having a good, solid front-end break-even funnel I can scale through paid ads. Like, that is the key. That's how you win this game. Nothing else actually matters that much, okay? All right. That's thing number one. Okay, you ready for thing number two? Thing number two is, what is your key metric? I lost sight of this. In your business, you have a key metric, and mine has shifted over the years. In fact, I remember when I was first growing my business, this is, pre-ClickFunnels, I had built a business, it kind of collapsed, and I was like back in the rebuilding phase. I had a really cool call with my buddy Dagan Smith, and we're talking about our businesses and growing and stuff like that. And Dagan asked me this question. It was so cool. He said, how many people join your list today? He dropped that today. Because you say, how many join your list? Oh, I got 100,000 people on my list. So, how many join your list today? And I didn't know. I was like, I'm not sure. Let me see. So I logged into my whatever. I think I had Aweber at the time, Aweber account. And it was like 6. Is that how many joined today? I'm like, 6? He's like, oh, there's your problem. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, your only focus should be how many people are joining your list every day. I'm like, how many join your list every day? He's like, and he logged in. It was like 3,000 something. And he's like, this happens every day. He's like, my focus is building my list. And as soon as he told me that, then that became our focus. I told my entire team, all right, only thing that matters is how many people join our list today. And what's crazy about it, as soon as you look at something, like it'll grow. It's crazy. And so it's just like, because it's back in your mind, like, okay, well, how do I get more people on this? What do I need to do? Oh, I need to do I do a podcast. Instead of just doing a podcast, I do a podcast and I give a call to action, right? Instead of doing Facebook Live, I do a Facebook Live and a call to action. Instead of just going, like you just start thinking differently. So start focusing. And I remember when we shifted our focus, how many people joined list today went from 6, to like 50 a day, to 100 a day, to 1,000 a day, to 5,000 a day, to 10,000 a day, right? When it became the focus. Okay. When we launched ClickFunnels, our key metric shifted. Our key metric was how many trials did we get today? When that became the focus, guess what happened? We got way more trials. And we started this run to, remember, our goal was to get to 100,000 active members. And so that was like on all the TVs in the office. Everyone saw it every single day. It was like the thing we talked about. Every meeting is like, how many people each day are joining? How many people we have? How do we get to 100,000? And that became the focus point, right? And we blew up the spot where we hit past 100,000 active members and blew up beyond that. And then after we passed 100,000, I stopped focusing on it. We hit the goal. It's crazy. And it's been like 4 or 5 years since I focused on that goal. And because of that, because no one's focusing on that as the goal, like the goalpost moved and just kind of like settled down, right? Now we're not at we're below 100,000 active members. And so it's coming back to like, what is your key metric? Okay. So the ClickFunnels business is how many people are active on ClickFunnels. And so how many trials are we getting today? That becomes, so in the ClickFunnels business, that is the key metric. And we're bringing it back to that. We'd forgotten about it. It's like bringing that back. That is the only thing that matters. Okay. And the selling online, the prime mover side of the business, right, is different. That one's like how many tickets we sold, how many people are going to be on this month's live challenge. Okay. And so my goal is I want to have 5,000 people every single month doing the selling online challenge. Right now we're about 2,500 to 3,000 to join every single month. So I'm about halfway, but our entire team, we all know, like everything from social to ads, everything's like, we need 5,000 people a month on this thing for our numbers to work. Right. And so those are the two key metrics with 2 key businesses. Okay. All right. So that's number 2 is what is your key metric? Okay. I don't care what it is, but it's gotta be the thing that drives your growth. It needs to be something that's literally on your wall every single day. You see it. When you wake up in the morning, if you got a team, that's the first thing everyone's asking, how many people joined the thing last night, right? If you don't have a team, then it's like you're yourself asking, like, how many people joined the thing last night? Like, that's the only thing that actually matters in your business. Okay. Everything else is just a byproduct of that, knowing what your key metric is. Okay. And by the way, your breaking funnel step number 1 should be the thing that's fueling your key number 2 metric. Okay. All right. 1, 2. Number 3, I just wrote really big in all bold caps, promotion, promoting. Okay. Too many times, us as creators, we create something and then we move to create something else. We have to focus on promotion of the thing we have. Promotion. Okay. I've got 3 of arguably the greatest marketing books of all time. .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, Traffic Secrets. I'm not focused on promoting those in a long time. So we just rebuilt the funnels. And now I'm coming back to promotion of it. Okay. Promotion. You hear me talking about more often, like promotion. Right? I'm doing more Facebook Lives. I'm doing more podcast episodes. I'm getting other people's podcast episodes. Like I'm speaking at more events. Like I got to get back into the promotion game. Same thing for you. Every single day. How are you promoting your stuff today? I remember a couple of years ago, my friend, one of my friends, it was January 1st, and he posted, I think it was like he's like, my goal is to get, I have a PowerPoint slide where I walked through what he did, but it was like, he was going to try to do 1,000 live presentations and or 1,000 speeches that year or something. And he said, I defined a speech where there's me and at least 2 other people, right? So it could be 1 to 2, 1 to 5, 1 to 100, but it's like a 1 to many presentation. And he said the goal is, I can't remember. I wish I pulled it. I think it was 1,000 though for the year he wanted to do. And so we put it out first day. It was like January 1st. I spoke to like my list. So I had one out of 1. And then February I did this, and or January 2nd, January 3rd. Every day he posts publicly how many speeches he had given. And as he started doing that, and people started messaging like, hey, you want to speak to my audience? Want to speak to my audience? And by the time he was in March, he was getting like 6, 7, 8 speeches a day, where he's doing a podcast here, he's doing a Facebook Live, this group, he's talking to this guy's, this group over here, he's doing on, just like, and it was just him doing this kind of stuff. And it made me remember, like, we got to focus more on promotion, right? How are you promoting your business today? I get people all the time, like, I'm working on my funnel, I'm going to launch my funnel, okay, that's great, but you got to be promoting at the same time, right? If you're not doing active promotion when your funnel's ready, no one's going to be there to buy. Okay, promotion is a consistent things happening every single day. Okay, so you have to figure out where are the places that you can talk, that you can promote, and then be there as much as you possibly can. Okay, promotion. All right, so number 1 is breaking funnels. Number 2, figure out a key metric. Number 3 is constant, consistent promotion. Number 4, okay, and this is something that's going to be a little controversial. You got to focus on ad creative over social. Okay, I've been doing social game for a long time. I got 1 million plus followers on Facebook, and on Instagram another 1 million, and on YouTube we got 400,000. What's crazy, and I love social, and maybe I just suck at social. That's definitely a possibility. There are people who are killing on social, but for the amount of effort I put into social and the number of leads that come back and the number of sales and trials and stuff, like it's not bad, but it's not good. Okay, when I put that same effort into ad creative, those make me way more money. It's crazy. I was looking at like how many hours a week I do creating social. Again, because it's podcasts, it's YouTube channel, these things, like these are all social things I'm doing. They're all great. Okay. And they're good for long-term consistency, good for building brand, good for connection with the audience, all sorts of stuff. But if you want to make money, it's creating ads. Okay. Last Friday, we sat there. I spent 4 hours just creating ads, ad after ad after ad after ad. Those ads get plugged in and instantly they turn into more money. Social eventually turns into more money. Ads instantly. Okay. So focusing on ad creative over social. Okay. For every hour you're putting into social, you should be putting an hour into ad creative. If you do that, watch how your business changes. Okay. If you look at like really good offers, the reality is with really good offers, the difference between an offer that's doing good and doing great is how much creative you have going towards that. In fact, a really good story, Dean Graziosi and I, we both launched a book about the same time. I had Expert Secrets and he launched Millionaire Success Habits. And we basically had very similar funnels. He had funnel hacked my funnel, so his funnel looked like mine. And we were kind of sharing stats back and forth. And what's crazy is that he was getting 4 times the many book sales that I was having. And we couldn't figure it out. Like, even I asked him, he's like, I don't know. We're looking at stuff. And finally I was like, can I come down and let's just spend a day with my team and your team? Let's kind of coach each other, look at everything. He's like, sure, come on down. So we flew down there and we went through all his numbers, his analytics, his everything. And when all said and done, what we found out is the only difference between Dean and me was Dean was creating 4 times more creative than I was. That's it. Okay. For every ad I made, he was making 4 ads. And it was interesting because Dean's from the infomercial world. And he told me, he's like, back in he's like, I would do an infomercial. And he's like, one infomercial would last for 18 months before it would get ad fatigue and I have to go record a new one. He's like, with ads on Facebook and Google, it's like 6 days. And so you got to keep creating a lot of creative. You know which ones are going to work and which ones are not going to work. And then what's interesting, he told me, is like, when you find the message that works, then you can double down. And so like he was showing us, he ended up selling, I think during this campaign, like 400,000 or 500,000 copies of his book, which is crazy for a book. But he's like, it took me like 6 months to get the right hook. He's just doing ad after ad after ad. Eventually, like just one of the ad creatives he did, boom, the hook landed. He's like, oh, that's the hook. And they did all the ads afterwards using that same hook, and that's when it blew up. So for me, with selling online, guess what I'm doing? Once a month, I'm going creating a whole bunch of ad creative, right? Because we're running this live event every single 30 days, every single month. So I need new ads, and so I'm doing new ads, and so like every month it's like, oh, that one didn't work, that one didn't work, this one did, and so like I'm learning like this is the messaging that gets people to sign up for this event. Okay, so I'm putting more time into ad creative. So number 4 is ad creative over social. For every hour you put into social, you're putting an hour into ad creative because the ad creative will pay off instantly. Social pays off over long term. So you still want to do both, but focus on ad creative over social. All right, number 5, I wrote curiosity. You have got to become curious. I don't know what it is about people. Maybe it's just I'm so curious, but people drive me nuts. Okay, so for example, I have people come to me all the time in my real world, and they're like, wow, Russell, you're making a lot of money. And that's it. They never say, like, what are you doing? Like, how do you do this? Okay. You guys remember the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith? And he's coming down and he's out from the building and the stockbroker pulls up in like some insane car and he gets out. And Will Smith's like, what do you do and how do you do it? Right. I got to figure that out. And he went and did it. Right. Same thing if you watch The Wolf of Wall Street where, what's his name? Jonah Hill's character, when he's talking to Leonardo DiCaprio and he's like, you show me a pay, or he's like, what do you do? He's like, I'm a stockbroker. How much money do you make? He's like, $50,000 a week. He's like, you show me a pay stub with, you make $50,000 a week. I quit my job right now and I come work for you. And he shows him the thing and the next scene's like, yeah, I quit, and hangs up. Anyway, like it's crazy to me how not curious people are. If you come to somebody, you find them and they're making more money than you should be so curious. Like, what are you doing? How are you doing it? If you find someone who is in better shape than you need to become extremely curious. What are you doing? How are you doing? What's the program? What's the protocol? I need to understand. Like, you know something I don't know. I need to know. Okay. When somebody's doing something amazing that you want to be like, or you want to understand, like you have to become insanely curious. I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of people I've met who come into my world or they meet me or something. And they're curious. Like they'll ask me like, wow, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I started an online business. And then they don't follow up. Oh, nice. And they stop. I'm like, you guys, this is like, it blows my mind. The people that are the most successful in all areas of life are the people who are the most curious. You have to become more curious. What is this? Like, what's happening? What's working? Why is it working? Okay. I think one of the things I find interesting is people who come into my world who want to learn how to grow businesses, do funnels, all that kind of stuff. The ones who want to just come make money, they're not curious. They're just like, how do I make money? And they try to do things, they struggle. The ones who get curious, like, how does this work? Like, what is the, like, I want to understand the psychology and the marketing, the business. Like, the ones who get curious about it, those are the ones who have success, right? Because they build a foundation of success that helps them be successful, right? It's not just like if I meet someone's six-pack abs, like, how do you do that? And then they give you a list of their recipes that they eat, and then like you try to do that, like you're not gonna be successful, right? You gotta understand everything, like their mindset, why they do it, and how it works, and how they structure their day, and like you gotta get deep into their mindset. So we need to become more curious about the people and the things that are having success in the world that we want to be in. Okay, we always talk about modeling success, but it's more than that. It's like figure out who you're gonna model, and then becoming extremely curious. Like, what are they doing, and how are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Asking a lot of questions. Okay. If you see someone when I see someone on social I see something blowing up, and I do this all the time. In fact, if any of you guys are out there, you know this, if I've seen your stuff, like I'll see like an ad or a video or something that's going viral, something I love, and I'm messaging people like, dude, your ad's awesome. That was so cool. How'd you do that? Where'd you come up with the idea? Is it yours? Was it an agency? Like I start asking these questions, right? And it's how it opens up all these doors for me. Okay. Extreme curiosity. The more curiosity you have, the more likely you are you're going to be to have success. Okay. So start asking more questions. When someone has what you want, or has something you desire, don't just be like, oh, nice. Like drill them, right? Think about Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness, right? Like, what do you do and how do you do it? Okay. Or Jonah Hill, right? You show me a check with $70,000. I quit my job right now. I can work for you. That's the kind of mentality. That's the kind of curiosity you have to be successful in this game. Okay. All right. And then number 6, achievers never quit. Okay. That's it. If you want to be successful, you have to stop stopping. Okay. Achievers do not quit. I think about this all the time. Like, I don't know. I'm a hyper intense achiever, right? I'm a high achiever. I love achievement. Like it's one of my few things that fuel me, right? I want to win at everything. So I was wrestling, like, it's crazy to me. Like I would go in the wrestling room and we'd have all these people coming in and just people like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. Like they come in, it gets hard. They quit. Like you come in the wrestling room on the very first day of practice, the room's so jammed, nobody could fit there. Within a month, like a fourth of them are gone. Within 2 months, half are gone. By the end of the season, it's like a third of the people are left, right? And it just blows my mind. Like how many people quit? And it's like, do you want to know why you're not successful in areas of life? Because you quit. It's just insane to me, right? I see it in business too. People come in and they dabble and they quit, right? Like if you want to win this game, like this is not a short-term game. Like how do I get rich quick? No. This is a game for achievers, right? And you come in, the thing that makes you an achiever is that you don't quit, right? You're curious and you don't quit, and you try and you fail and you try and you fail and you try and you like that's the key. I saw a kid, this guy giving a speech the other day, and great kid, but he was someone who came in the wrestling room and he worked out for 2 months, then he quit. And I just saw him and I was just like, oh man, that kid quit. And it's like, now that he's done that, like in all areas of his life, now he's got an outlet. It's like, oh, I quit wrestling, I quit this, I quit. Like you got to stop quitting at things. I don't know. I think one of the reasons why I've been so successful is like, I don't quit, right? Like I think about wrestling, and wrestling puts you under the most extreme situations of any human on this planet, I think. I don't know. I mean, I look at like what wrestling practice looks like. If you ever survive like a 3-hour wrestling practice at like Division I level, like it is brutal. It's hard to compete. It's hard to survive. But imagine doing that while cutting weight, which means you haven't eaten and drinking in 3 days, and you still have to walk into that room and perform at a high level, right? With plastics on and sweats on while you were trying to cut weight, right? Like there's so many times I would have loved to quit, like over and over and over again, right? Sometimes people just quit, right? But I didn't quit, right? And so I have this thing in my head, like I don't have the ability to quit. Like that's not an option. I don't give myself that option, right? I think about just last 4 years of my journey, okay? You look at like when we launched ClickFunnels, we're growing and everyone's cheering because they love the underdog story and you're growing. And then we get to the top, and the second we stumble, everyone comes attacking, everyone comes throwing stuff at us. Like, man, I could have quit earlier and left on a high with $100 million in my pocket and be like, peace, I'm out, right? But instead, because I decided to continue to serve, the second I stumbled, man, everyone wants to like throw their cheap shots in, and it's insane, right? I could have quit a million times along the way. I wanted to quit sometimes, right? But I don't quit. Achievers don't quit, right? And if you want to win at this game or the game of life as a whole, you have to stop quitting. And so those are the things this year that I wanted to kind of bring to your plate to think about on success, right? If you want to be successful in 2025, like this game is fun. Like I love it. I'm still obsessed with it. There are times when I'm tired and it's brutal. It's ups and the downs, all sorts of stuff. But I love this game, right? And so think about the things to focus on, right? Number one, again, break-even funnels. You need a break-even funnel for your business. You should be obsessed with creating funnel after funnel after funnel until you got one, okay? You probably noticed I just tried one funnel. Like, it didn't work. I don't know what to do now, right? Like, I don't know, go back to my email list. If you guys are on my email list, how many funnels I launched in the last 12 months? I promise it's a lot more than you did, okay? Well, Russell, you have like, no. If I'm going to launch 12 funnels this year to find one break-even funnel, how many are you going to launch? You might launch 20, okay? Because I'm pretty dang good at this game. But it took me a lot of funnels to get one that I can now scale, okay? Which means you got to pick up speed. You got to stop slowing down. You got to stop like wasting time and thinking about it. And like, you got to put stuff out there. Okay. I always used to joke about this. You get a bunch of crap, throw it at the wall and see which thing's going to stick. Okay. Most of you guys sitting there like pile of crap. Like, oh, I don't know. Should I throw it? I don't know. I'm just going to think about it. Like, what if someone makes fun of me? What if it doesn't work? Well, and you're just like holding this, like throw it and then see, and then try again and try again and try again. Right. You got to find out what the break-even funnel is that's going to grow for you and scale, but you don't know until you go out there and you actually do it. Okay. Number one is break-even funnels. Number two, figure out your key metric. Every morning, waking up, looking at that metric, knowing what it is. So you start focusing on it, it will grow. Okay, say that everything you focus on will grow except for your waistline, which will actually shrink when you focus on it because you're trying to lose weight, right? But everything else, when you focus on it, it grows. So figure out the key driving metric in your business. Is it opt-ins? Is it sales? Is it trials? Like, what is the thing for you? Okay, for me, it's easy. Trials over in ClickFunnels business, ticket sales over here in the prime mover business. That's it. Those are the two metrics. All matters every single day in and day out. Okay. Number three, promotion. Waking up every morning thinking about I got to promote. I was talking to a friend yesterday about PT Barnum. I have PT Barnum's actual pocket watch. And I was telling him about it at church, and I was like, yeah, I got PT Barnum's pocket watch. He's like, that's so cool. It's like, why are you collecting PT Barnum stuff? I was like, PT Barnum's one of the greatest promoters of all time. I'm like, he knows I run a business. I'm like, that's like promotion's like the key to success in this business, right? Like, I love Barnum because of promotion. Like I study him. I read his books. I study what he did because he's a great promoter. Like, we got to become great promoters. Okay. Number four, ad creative over social. For every hour you put it into social, you got to spend at least an hour in creating ads. So you can find the hooks. So you have enough creative to be able to scale when you do have a funnel that's going to be a break even. Okay. Number five, curiosity, becoming like obscenely curious when somebody's got something you don't have and figure out how they do it, why they do it. Reverse engineer, ask them questions, like do whatever it takes to be able to figure out what that thing is. And number six, achievers never quit. Stop quitting. Okay. Go stand in the fire for a little bit, throw some fists and just know you don't have an outlet. Don't let yourself off the hook. Okay. If you're struggling right now, my guess is you've probably let yourself off the hook more than once. It's time to stop. Okay. There is no turning back. Like, this is it. You are in the fire. You chose to come on this path. You feel called to be here. And you got to step into that and lean into it and do not stop. Okay. Because achievers never quit. Those are my 6 things for you guys. I hope that was helpful for you. A couple other things, depending on where you're listening to this, we are less than a month away from the last ever Funnel Hacking Live. I'm excited for it. I'm sad about it. I'm happy for that it's going to be the last one. I'm sad about it. Like, all the things. If you don't have your ticket yet, now is the time to come. This will be the last. It's going to be the biggest, the best. Go to funnelhackinglive.com, get your tickets in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come out there, hang out with us. I'm going to share with you guys the funnels we're using, what we're doing behind the scenes, a whole bunch of other cool stuff. We're going to light you on fire and get you excited and motivated, fired up. It's time to plug back in. Again, this is the last time. People for years like, oh, I'm going to come to the next one. I'm going to come to the next one. There is no next one. This is it. Russell, why are you stopping this? Like, I've been doing this for a decade. Okay. I've been doing this for you, right? Like, I'm taking a break because I got to focus on this. I got to focus on my promotion, my growing, my scaling, those kind of things. Russell, what's the plan? I'll talk about the plan at Funnel Hacking Live. Come to Funnel Hacking Live. I'll tell you what's happening. But this is the last Funnel Hacking Live. You do not want to miss it. And then on top of that, russellbrunson.com, because this is the Russell Brunson Show, I'm going to update that site with links to the podcast, YouTube channels, things like that. YouTube, we got different YouTube channels. There's one that's like all my Russell Brunson, me breaking down funnel hacks. There's one with the podcast, one with shorts. Like, go subscribe to all those channels. Podcasts, everything's me in this one podcast where I can just focus on one. Instagram, like, come plug into all the things. You also see the links to all my businesses, my funnels. Like, if you go to russellbrunson.com, there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff there to go check out. Which is a lot of fun. And I think that's it, you guys. So what do you think? Episode 1 of the Russell Brunson Show, was it good, bad, up, down? Let me know if you liked it. Please take a screenshot on your phone, like, go post it on social, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, tag me, like, Russell, I love it. Or if you don't, like, Russell, you talk too fast, whatever. I don't really care. I just want to make sure you guys are plugged in because I'm excited about this year. I'm excited to spend more time podcasting with you guys, this kind of this format. I kind of went from like me doing short form shows to me doing long form shows. I'm doing a lot of interviews, and I'll probably still bring in interviews and stuff. I miss just hanging out. When I listen to someone else's podcast, I'm there to listen to their thoughts and their ideas, not so much interviews. So again, I'll probably do some interviews, but I'm gonna do a lot more just me and you guys hanging out, because I don't know, if I was listening, that's what I want to hear. So you get the Russell perspective on things. I hope you enjoy it. Other than that, you guys, I appreciate you. For any of you guys who had a hard last 12 months or 2 years or 4 years, just know that there is hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm feeling it right now, but it comes down to the 7 or 6 things we talked about right now, is like extreme focus on those things. And yeah, so I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for being part of the podcast. That said, see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, everybody.